Hi, bees! Just a disclaimer here. We recorded this episode outside, so we apologize for any noise or sounds that you guys hear while listening to this podcast. Thank you! Welcome to episode 1 of To Be or Not to Be with Michelle and Austin. Hey B, what's the buzz?
The buzz today is high school.
Ooh, what a cringy yet exciting time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say less cringe, more excitement for the most part. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot of cringe, and we're going to get into that today.
Sophomore banquet.
Oh, God. Is that even a thing in most high schools?
I feel like they have what is it? Some kind of banquet or party, like some kind of event for each year.
Huh. I know junior and senior prom, it's always those are the things.
So they would have to have some kind of banquet, like some kind of dance event, social event for the students.
Oh God. Well, I guess keeping in with the theme, what was your expectations going into high school versus what was the reality? What was it like after senior year?
Going into high school, so we both went to a private school, and prior to high school, I was going to a different school. So our high school, Kamehameha Schools, was very exciting to me because I got in as a freshman, and if anything, I felt a lot more intimidated because I was going into high school, a pivotal time of young people's lives, with no friends. I had to start from scratch, where at my previous school I had so many friends. So it was very, very intimidating. But my expectations for high school was I was excited to challenge myself academically. Yeah, I was a bit nerdy. I was very excited to take advantage of our high school's amazing extracurricular program in the sense of sports. I wanted to be part of the volleyball team, which is a really popular and successful volleyball team. I went in kind of wide-eyed and excited to see what will happen. Now, senior year, what the experience was really like, I would say it was better than I could have imagined it to be. We had great teachers. We had great resources. Lunch. I could never imagine a school lunch being as amazing as that.
It was the best. It's probably the best in the state.
Best in maybe the country.
Yeah.
Where this is just some background. We had a pasta bar, a salad bar,
the main dish bar,
sandwich
bar.
Main dish could be anywhere from terry meatballs, terry burger, lasagna, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we had a sandwich. Sandwich bar.
Yeah, sandwich bar and a yogurt bar.
And a yogurt bar.
Yeah, we had bars.
Different types of milk, soy milk, regular milk, chocolate milk, which was super popular.
Chocolate soy milk too.
We had 4 different types of juices.
Water, lots of water.
Lots of water. But yeah, lunch was probably what defined my high school experience.
We were spoiled.
Which we were kind of spoiled in more than just lunch, but resources.
Yeah.
But I would say at the end of my senior year, or even now, high school was way better than I could have imagined it to be. How about you? Your expectations going in and what it was really like?
Well, unlike Michelle, I got into Kamehameha when I was in middle school. So going into high school, transitioning from middle school, I didn't really have too many expectations because a lot of my friends were already existing. But I did want to be a little more academically stable in the sense where I wanted to be straight A student, the best at everything, AP everything, blah, 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 good at sports, everything. And I wanted to kind of focus more on a career. So at the time I wanted to be a doctor, but looking back on that was a dumb idea.
Is there something with young kids and doctors? Because I wanted to be a doctor too. I wanted to be a cardiologist.
It was an Asian thing. So my mom wanted me to be a doctor.
Stereotypical.
But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, I definitely liked high school as a whole. I think ending senior year, I didn't get straight A's, obviously. I was a very average student, if anything. I mean, I made honor roll, which is cool, but like, you know, just...
What did you like specifically then about high school?
I think personally, I liked like what you said, the resources we had. Not so much the school lunches, because I was kind of used to that by that point. But like, you know, like I did like the school lunches a lot. More than anything, I liked our AutoCAD program because they gave me access to the 3D printer, and I just like 3D printed everything I could possibly conceive before I had to graduate and no longer had access to that. So shout out to my favorite CAD teacher. I don't think I can say your name on online, so I'm not going to. But you know, shout out to your class. It's great. That and the art resources, I stole a whole bunch of Copic markers like before I left. I'm admitting to a crime, but they're not gonna care. It was like $1, whatever. I wouldn't say I stole it though. They kind of gave it to me, and then I just never returned it. So that was that. But it was a lot of fun. Definitely like the classes. More specifically, the elective classes that we took.
We had so much options.
Yeah, it's definitely a college prep school in the sense where it's like you get to choose what you wanted to do as a career later on. But
they dabbled into so many different areas. I mean, we had our basic, you know, English, math, science, and other mandatory courses, but they really had kind of something for everyone.
Yeah, like if you wanted to go into art, they had like a ton.
So much art. They had so much art, whether it was performing arts or
visual arts.
Visual arts such as ceramic, drawing and painting.
Yeah, illustration, like all kinds of stuff. And even then, we had AP bio classes for people who were interested in that. Marine biology.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like psychology classes too, which is really cool.
Sociology classes.
Yeah. Like anything you could really think of, we had most likely a class for it. So it really taught us like that we could do whatever we wanted. And it helped us in a sense where when we got into college, we kind of knew
what direction we wanted to do.
Yeah, even if it wasn't exactly what we signed up for, we kind of knew what we wanted to do. So gotta be grateful for that. It was a good experience. So I guess leading into that, what was the things that you liked and you didn't like from high school?
Well, one thing I really liked about high school was, like you said, our program, specifically senior year when I took ceramics class, and I wish I took it earlier because our school has, like we said, a lot of resources where I could make as much things as I wanted. I think I made like 6 bowls, 10 plates, 3 vases because we had to make a vase, and I was just like, oh, I can't use that. But we didn't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, it was free. Everything was free.
Everything was free.
I mean, we had to pay like private school tuition, but it was like $5,000 a year.
Compared to what it's really worth.
Yeah, and you can get scholarships for it too. So.
Financial aid. So definitely like one thing I really liked was the ceramics program, but overall what I liked was the options we had, so like the things we could choose from. Also, personally, I really like how they instilled like cultural values in us and could connect us to our culture. That was one of the main points I really liked going because I was super, proud to be Hawaiian, and they kind of just fostered that and just got me educated. But one thing I disliked. Was there something I disliked? Of course. There's gotta be, right? What was something you disliked?
I mean, personally, I didn't really... This is going to be controversial, and I'm going to be blasted on the internet for saying this, but I'm not really opposed to, like, not having song contests ever. Just because, like, I'm a nerd, but I'm also kind of lazy. And for us to have to, like, spend a whole semester leading up to another semester of singing, it was cool. It was a nice experience, and I will say that I was really proud when we swept all the awards last year, senior year, and even like won a couple awards in junior year, which we broke the streak for, which is great. Like, it was fun and it was an exciting time. But I mean, not saying I disliked it, but I would definitely say like I could live without it, because it definitely did take a lot of like time and energy to have to like deal with all of that. And yeah, just,
Okay, that is a little controversial to me because I'm on the opposite end.
yeah.
But one thing I definitely disliked about our school was how intensive our PE program was. So just so you know, our PE program is not the typical, oh, just run 1 mile and you're done. No, no, no. They made us run, swim, take extra like sports classes. But when I tell you we ran, it wasn't just 1 mile. It was running maybe 3 or 4 miles, and we had a heart monitor on so that the teachers could see if we were walking, or they could see if we were underperforming, and they would call your name out. Nisha Felipe, run faster. But it wasn't really a problem because I was, thank God, like a little athletic, pretty athletic. So it wasn't too much of a problem, but it was just a chore to have to run in the hot sun 4 miles. And we wouldn't just run at a constant pace. They would make us do fart lifts, where you would run fast, then run slow, run fast. So it was like high intensity. It was like HIIT. And swimming, even if you don't like swimming, they would make you swim. So I remember going into the PE program that I could swim. I just wasn't a strong swimmer. I would get dizzy from the back and forth. It was just too much for me. And people were passing me, and not to be that person, but I'm not used to being passed. Like, when I was running, I was like keeping constant pace, but swimming, I was out of my zone. So I remember, this might be TMI, but I would just tell the teacher, sorry, I'm on my period. I can't swim this class.
I mean, I feel like as a girl, it made more sense than anything.
So that was the way I avoided it. But I didn't mind taking different classes because I took a really cool, like we did lacrosse, we did volleyball, we did basketball. So it was fun. But I guess the intensity of it was just a little, I don't know.
See, I'm opposed to that because a little known fact, I am both a runner and a swimmer, where I was in like high school and whatever. I did cross country and track, and I ran the marathon when I was a freshman in high school, and I swam competitively for like 8 years. Like, I was a runner and swimmer, so the intensity that she's talking about wasn't really much of a problem for
I'm
me.
just the average person.
I'm an average person too. With
Overachiever.
No, more like forced into my own good. But it was fun. I didn't actually, I was against the whole like trying new sports thing, because I was like, I was already swimming and running. Like, why did I have to do another sport if I was running and swimming already? Like, what was the point of that? So I think I did like lifting and like, what did I do? Like something stupid.
Archery?
Yeah, I did archery. I definitely did.
Because this was when, what was it? Hunger Games came out, and everyone thought they wanted to be Katniss Everdeen.
Oh yeah, I think I just wanted to do it because it was easy. I didn't have to it was like an individual sport still yet, so I didn't have to worry about like team sports.
And this is just the FYI, but our freshman test, end of the year test for PE, was running 6 miles or swimming
3 miles? No, 1 mile. A 3K, 1 point something miles. Yeah.
And then sophomore year, we had to do a biathlon.
Yeah.
Then junior year,
it was a run, like a community run or a community swim.
Race.
Yeah.
And then senior year,
it was the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So it's not just your run 1 mile, people. It was intense. So I was athletic in high school, but even that was too much for me.
I was okay with it. It was funny because all of the runs that we did for community runs and whatever, I did anyways because I was into running like miles.
It was one of the very few people who actually liked it, enjoyed it.
I mean, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. I just thought that was the only thing I was good at the time. So
so you held on to it.
Yeah.
But talking about extracurriculars, what did you do?
Like I said, I ran cross country and I did track, and I also swam for the swimming club, which I hated. We'll get into it later, I think. But yeah, I mean, as far as like sports goes, that's what I did. But I was also into like drawing, painting. I was really into like just art in general, so I tried a lot of different things when it came to that. So yeah, I was like kind of an all-around just weirdo, an eclectic weirdo. What about you?
I did volleyball, cross country, basketball, and our school offered paddling because obviously we live on an island. I wanted to get into it, but it just clashed with the seasons. So I couldn't do two sports in one season because I couldn't make the practices. But some clubs I really enjoyed being in, this is going to sound so whatever, but tree huggers.
Of course.
What was it? Dog lovers.
Was Key Club part of the Tree Huggers?
No. It was separate, but I liked it because we made tie-dye.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I think those extracurriculars, like the non-athletic stuff, really helped to balance out, like my interests.
Yeah.
But besides extracurriculars, like, did you have any favorite classes?
Yeah. Well.
And what about classes you hated?
Well, okay, classes that I liked. I mean, if we're going with extracurricular classes, or what is it called?
Main courses? No, it's food. Core subjects?
Electives. If we're going off electives, I liked, I had, like I said, AutoCAD, which was basically just computer drafting, which, if you don't know, is like a very powerful software that architects use to draft things, make their blueprints and whatever. I liked drawing and painting, which was really fun, and illustration. I learned a lot from it. Actually, drawing and painting I didn't learn anything from. Illustration I learned a lot from. Computer art I did was fun. I got to do whatever I wanted. Yeah, but I mean, gen eds, like, I liked math a lot. I was really into like
gen eds, that's the word.
Gen eds.
Main courses.
Gen eds. I liked math for the most part. I liked everything except for AP Computer Science, which was counted as a math credit for me. But I didn't like it because it was like really boring. Like, it was more the teacher of anything that I didn't like. But yeah, all my math classes I liked. Algebra 2, geometry, trigonometry. What else is there? Algebra 3? Was that algebra 3? No, algebra 3 was like something else.
Yeah.
That was remedial math. Pre-calc. I like pre-calc too. I didn't take calc. I took AP Computer Science in place of it.
Were you even doing math then if you didn't get to calculus?
Well, I don't know. Probably. But yeah, that was like basically it. I didn't get into English until like junior year in high school though. So that's when I started really cracking down into it.
What classes didn't you like then?
History. Hated history.
Ugh.
It was like the worst subject. Like any kind of history, I hated. For me, I think we've talked about this before. Yeah. I'm a very analytical person. So for me, I'm able to like memorize equations because it's one thing you have to memorize. And then all you have to do is plug in variables into the equation and just like understand the rules. But like social studies, you have to memorize every fact. Like, you can't skip it. You can't figure it out. Like, it's really hard to guess it unless you're really good at putting figures together. So I hated it. I just couldn't do it. It was more just like a memory thing for me. I just couldn't figure out. But what about you?
Gen eds, I really enjoyed English. I did really well. And not to do my own horn, but I was in honors in 9th and 10th grade, and then AP in 10 and in 11 and 12th grade. And English just came so easy to me. Just the rules and the concepts and writing. I loved writing. I thought I wanted to be a writer, I just thought I was really good at it. So I enjoyed that, but elective-wise, I love languages. So the language I took in high school was Hawaiian, and I remember just picking it up so easily. And in my third year of taking a language, I was pretty more than conversational. I understood the concepts. I understood the patterns, and it was just so easy. And like I said, another elective I liked was ceramics because I could make free shit. I made.
It's always fun when you can just take home stuff.
Yeah, and you can design it any way you want. Mm-hmm. It was like you were God and you could make something and in your likeness.
It it was great. I think that's like the great thing about art in general. It's like you can make whatever you want, however you want it, and it'd be fine.
You are God.
Exactly.
But a class I disliked, I'm on the opposite of you. I effing hated math.
Whatever.
It's just like, like when you learn it with the teacher, you're learning it on the daily, like, yeah, okay, the problems are easy. And then when the tests come around, they give you like level 10, like super hard question. It's like, how did we go from easy questions to crazy hard questions? It's like, you want me to fail. So, math was definitely on the low end.
I still disagree. Math is way easier.
Nope.
Than anything else I've ever really taken. I think as long as you understand the fundamentals of it, like the equation you're learning that day or whatever, you're fine. You're golden. Just like, as long as just know the rules and you'll be good. But I think the hard part comes in when you're like even English gets hard at certain points because it's like you understand the rules, but now you have to understand how to apply it. So that's where it gets a little more difficult.
But in high school, did you ever feel like you were kind of above average? Because I would say, like, I felt pretty above average. And then when I got to college, I felt very average. So, like, I was thinking how high school, like, it made me feel like I was super smart. And then I realized, oh, I'm okay.
I think I felt like pretty average when it came to everything, except for math. I guess I was pretty good at math. But I think the reason we feel like we're like average, very average in college is because we're not only like dealing with people our age, but we're dealing with people older than us who like have more experience in whatever we're doing. And so like the conversations that we're talking about is more critical thinking rather than problematic solving, like statistical, analytical. Mm-hmm. It's more like we understand the analytical, how do we apply that into like real life situations? So, I mean, that's something I kind of picked up like while in college as well. It's like, oh, I understand that we have a need for, I don't know, food in the world. We don't need any food for the world, actually. We have enough food in the world for 10 billion people. So just an FYI, capitalism at its best. Anyways, just to throw out an example, it's like, how do we apply all of the things that we've learned into solving this singular problem? And I think that's where it gets a little more complicated, and we feel a little inferior to like people who have a higher thinking about this thing. But it's all, I think at a certain point, college is more subjective than anything. Mm-hmm. Like we're only as smart as our peers, basically. So like it doesn't really matter too much like if we're average or not. Like we learn the same amount of stuff as everybody else because it's a conversation most of the time.
Right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, okay, deviating from subjects and curriculars, what about friends? How was it making friends for you in high school?
Well, like I said, I already got into the middle school, so everybody else just moved up with me. So I already had an existing friends group. Though I will say, though, I branched out a lot, I think, from middle school to high school because I started hanging out with more cliques in general. Like, I was friends with, I guess the scene people for a little bit. But I wasn't like really like into the scene. I didn't do a lot of the stuff. I didn't listen to the same music and whatever, but I guess I clung on to them the most. But then once I got to high school, I got into like our group, our friends group, which is like what, preppy?
I would say preppy, goody,
yeah,
smart kids.
We were the kids who obeyed all the rules, basically. We didn't shy away from them. But yeah, I started hanging out with you guys and I felt a little more like, I guess,
a sense of belonging?
Yeah, like I didn't really feel I was like trying to fit in with anybody. I was just fitting in general.
Being yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But in high school in general, I had like a lot of different friends groups. Like I hung out with like the video game nerds at sometimes, and then the art majors, not majors, but art people at sometimes. But yeah, what about you?
Well, I'm a very different case where I came into the high school with no friends. But prior to school starting, there was a volleyball camp for the volleyball tryouts, and because volleyball was the first sport, or like was in the first season of high school. So by doing the tryouts and the camp, I was able to make some friends going in. So initially I started off with some other new girls who were coming into the school, and so I would say like there was like maybe three of us. We were new, or four of us. We were new girls going in, and we just connected because of volleyball. And then coming into a high school as a new kid, you kind of have potential to go anywhere. To kind of find your group. So my friends, I would say I started off with like some new kids, but then I found our group, and I felt like that same sense of belonging, and like, oh wow, like I fit in here. So I would definitely say like I don't think I was preppy, but apparently our friend group, that's where I made some really good friends. Cliques though, I kind of floated, because of course when you take classes with different people, you connect with different people. So I would say I definitely floated. I didn't belong to really one group, but I would say like if I did, it would be our smart group. And then but I floated, which I really liked. I think some people hate on floaters, but I think making more friends, there's no harm in that.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think nowadays especially there's such a thing as like people who have like singular cliques. I think most of the people are floaters in theory, because a lot of times like we have like things like social media and I guess like new technology that we didn't have as kids, so like for us to like try to connect with everybody would have been pretty impossible, because that's how cliques have really established, right? You have like this group of friends and we just share things with each other. But now we follow everybody, so now it's more of just like a how should you say it, I guess you interact with everybody on your social media basically,
right?
So you get to talk with everybody.
And what was cool about our school is they provided laptops. And it was easy to access the social media parts, like Facebook and also I remember we would just Facebook message each other, like sadly during classes, in between classes, and I think that really helped with making friends. But besides friends, what was it like dealing with the pressure of high school? Like all the things we had to juggle, like extracurriculars, tough classes, social interactions. Was it tough?
I don't know if it was just me not processing everything, but it wasn't that difficult for me, because I mean like I was juggling like a lot. Like I did like running, swimming, trying to keep up with grades, talking to friends, blah blah blah. But I feel like a lot of it was more just like a balancing act, and a lot of times it would be you're just adding on to things. You're adding on things, so you don't really feel the impact of it until like all of a sudden you just throw 3 things into the melting pot and you're like dealt with it at the same time. But I mean, like Asian household, my mom wanted me straight A student, whatever. I got into a lot of fights with her in high school just because of that, but not a big deal. It was fine. So I wouldn't say it was the hardest time. It wasn't the hardest thing to juggle like 5 different things at once. It was just like a balancing act. What about you?
I feel like when it came to juggling extracurriculars, like it was fine because I felt like I was doing something. I liked being busy, but I think it was just like maybe junior year was the toughest for me, because I had to prepare for the AP exam. I had to, I put so much pressure on myself. Like I wanted to do so well on the SATs because I had like these big dreams of going to big schools, and I needed to get great scores. And I would say like not only preparing for my AP English exam, but AP English was really difficult. The teacher, she was tough. She held such a high standard. And okay guys, I will tell you now, they say AP English prepares you for college level English.
They're wrong.
They are so wrong. Me and Austin were in the same English class for college, and I will tell you, it was a joke. It was like
it was
middle
like,
school English.
yeah, remedial English for high schoolers.
Mad respect to the teacher though. She was amazing.
Yeah, she was great.
But the concepts she taught, like, I mean, she reviewed, like, what is a noun? What is a verb? What is an adverb? How to use a semicolon? And it's just like, I was shocked because I took intensive English courses throughout high school, and that was like, I was expecting, oh, like, write me an essay using like this topic and make sure it's perfect.
Yeah. Like, I think going into English in college, I expected more, like analytical, or not analytical thinking, more like critical thinking, like how to apply what we've learned grammatically into like writing professional
professional
writing, anything really. But we learned how to apply a semicolon to sentences. We also learned
how to use conjunctions.
Oh yeah, independent clauses and dependent clauses. We got that down. But it's like, it was one of those things where we kind of realized that college itself isn't hard. I think it's just figuring out how to apply the skills that we learned from college into our careers, which has made it more difficult.
So your high school teacher's telling you college is, it's going to be so different in college. It's going to be it's going to be different for the best.
Yeah.
Because when they say like, oh, your teacher's not going to accept late work in college, please. Sometimes the professors don't even show up. Like,
that is true.
It's like, oops, they send an email like 10 minutes before class. Sorry guys, canceling class.
I will say though, a lot of things that we did like expect from high school into college, it did apply during college as well. So, for example, teachers may not ask for your homework, but it's implied that you do turn it in.
Yeah,
which is a big thing. Don't be the narc who, like, in high school though, it's like you didn't collect your homework.
Oh my god, don't! You're gonna be hated.
But like, just like maybe like maybe ask your teacher privately, hey, you didn't collect your homework, are we supposed to turn it in? Like, be on top of your teachers without being a narc, you know what I mean? Yeah. I guess it's the best way to put it. Like, yeah, just make sure that you're on top of your deadlines is the biggest thing, because no one's there to baby you in high school, and or college, and it's very true.
And it's better to be over prepared for college. Like, so take those tough courses, challenge yourself. You'd rather be over prepared for college than under prepared.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess speaking of high school, I guess, subjects, what was your, what was the classes that you took that led up to your career or your college career, and what do you think, did you think it applied?
So when I was in high school, I really thought, I wanted to be a doctor, but then in senior year, I took a class called marine science, and it made me just like I always loved the ocean, obviously. But taking marine science, I realized there was so much life in the ocean that I wanted to observe, wanted to research, wanted to know. And so high school, me, like when I graduated, wanted to be a marine biologist. And I would say that marine science class like really like introduced me to it and made me fall in love with it. But then like literally the summer before college, I changed to business because I was like, oh, like business seems way more practical, and like I can get more jobs, and I don't have to go grad school, I don't have to get a PhD, because when we're looking at jobs in high school, we're looking at the pay. And I saw that I wouldn't make much money as a marine biologist if I didn't have like a master's or a PhD. So I was like, oh no, I want to make sure I can make money. So I changed to business, and no regrets, because I'll be a successful, rich, powerful businesswoman, and I'll pay all these marine science people to take care of our ocean. Wow.
So do you think any of the classes that you've taken in high school related to it?
Oh, definitely. Like economics, understanding supply and demand, guys. That's the basics of business. So I would say, and of course math, and just like mainly economics actually prepared me, but it was really useful. Business class though, like there's no really business management in high school, and I get it, but if you're a business bound major from high school, make sure you understand economics. How about you though?
I think at a certain point, I think like sophomore year, I kind of decided I wanted to go into like the engineering route because I was good at math,
Asian household.
of course. But I like also really liked art, which my mom and my parents and even I, for some parts of me, like didn't want to go into just because I knew it was going to be financially unstable. So looking back at it, I kind of chose architecture, I guess like somewhat during sophomore and junior year of high school, and then I kind of just morphed my schedule around that. So I think architecture was a good balance because it combined two of my favorite things, which was math and art, and I was able to like, yeah, I was able to design stuff. Would I say college or high school electives really helped me? I would say for the most part, somewhat. Very somewhat. Like the technical skills I learned from AutoCAD really did apply for me in the work field, but college is a different story. Which, long story short, we didn't get to learn the programs that I learned in high school, but they're very applicable to the real world. So college really just kind of wasted my time in that. But a lot of the theories that I learned from like the different classes and whatever really did kind of help me prepare for college. So it was a pretty good experience, I guess.
Well, taking that, what would you tell your younger self? Like, do you have any advice for high school you?
Yeah, probably be more on top of your classes, be on top of your grades, I guess, a little bit more. I think like I had like 1 year in like sophomore year where I just kind of started slacking off a little bit. Don't do that, guys. Make sure you be prepared for everything. Be on top of your grades. Grades are always come first. And this is not just coming from an Asian. This is coming from a person who wants you guys to succeed in your careers. Just make sure that you guys are on top of your grades, and then everything else will follow because you'll have friends that will never go away. Well, I guess after high school they might, but you know, you'll have friends in the moment. So just remember, grades come first. I guess is the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you?
I would agree with that, but also live a little. If don't spend your entire weekend studying, mm-hmm. Make sure you go and hang out with your friends, go do something you like, enjoy, have a hobby. Like, don't get too consumed by schoolwork. Like, when you do study, make use of that time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how long you study, it matters how effective you do. And homework, just get it done. Don't procrastinate. Just get it done. That way you're not rushing at the end and you don't have to worry about shitty quality.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest tip of all of us. Don't procrastinate.
Yeah, but my main advice, the advice I would tell my younger self is to take more advantage of the elective classes. Mm-hmm. You can really see what you will enjoy and what matches your taste and what you can do.
Yeah, and I think even if you take an elective class that you don't particularly like, it's still a good experience because at the end of the day, you know now that you don't think it's the right thing for you to do in life. So, but at least you'll know that without having the worries about what ifs, what if nots, you know.
Mm-hmm. Also, probably the biggest advice I can give to younger Michelle is don't give a F of what people think about you, because you will really never see them again.
That's so true, though.
Like, you don't go or you don't speak in front of a class or you hold back your true self because, oh, they might think you're weird. Who cares? Because you won't see them after high school. And if you do, it's like just in passing. And after high school, people chill out, really.
Yeah, they mellow out a ton.
So don't hold yourself back based on what people think. It sounds cliche, but it really, really doesn't matter after high school.
Yeah, I mean, don't go crazy. Don't go doing anything inappropriate. But yeah, definitely don't worry about what other people think. I think my biggest regret might be not taking more public speaking classes. Mm-hmm. That might have helped a lot. But just in general, not being my true self, because I think a lot of times you hold back in high school because you don't want people to see the bad in you. But by doing that, you only allow the bad to show through. Yeah. So it's another thing to keep in mind in high school.
You're only hurting yourself if you hold back on yourself, based on what people think.
Yeah.
So just be yourself, guys. It doesn't matter what people think.
Yeah. And if all else fails, just remember that this is only 4 years of your life. And
the next 4 years will be better.
Start fresh, man. Yeah. No one has to know you exist.
Okay, well, that looks like all the time we have.
Yeah. So if you guys want to follow us on social medias, we are To Be or Not to Be on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you subscribe to our SoundCloud and YouTube channels to make sure that you get notification.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate your time.
Be awesome.
To Be or Not to Be was directed, produced, and hosted by Michelle Felipe and Austin Chun. Special thanks to our friend Simon for letting us use his office. Music by Joakim Karud, and you can find him on SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, and iTunes. Licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 Unported Share Alike license.
And make sure to subscribe and like us on YouTube and SoundCloud.